Rangers fans, are you ready to rock? Yeah, tonight, if it was any indication, the Rangers are going to be rocking all season long. What a great start by Kumar Rocker. What a great series for the Rangers. They sweep the Angels. We talk about it next. It's the post-game edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, I would say after a rough weekend and a rough road trip, the Rangers do have their swagger back. And, by the way, Mike Trout does not. Quickly, to update Mike Trout's numbers in the series, 1 of 11 with 5 strikeouts, including 2 tonight by Kumar Rocker. What a game it was for the Rangers. What a series. 5-3. The final in the game tonight. We're glad to have you along on the DLLS Rangers post-game podcast. John Radigan here. We've got the Prophet, Elijah Smith. He and I were up there thrilling to this game just as you were. And, of course, Jeff Wilson is at Globe Life Field tonight. He'll join us in just a couple of minutes. Right now, he is speaking with Bruce Bochy and Kumar Rocker and perhaps some of the other principals in this one as the post-game reaction is being gathered and collected right now. But we've got a lot to talk about. We want you to join the chat. We see you there already, and we appreciate you. It was an appetizer, as the championship game says, an appetizer for this weekend when the Dodgers come calling. But as it is, the Rangers have swept the other team from Los Angeles, and that is, of course, the L.A. Angels, and it was a really, really nice series. Now, look, you win the first 2 games of your series, and you're kind of like, well, you know, if you don't, you want to win. You want to win every game. But if you don't, you're like, well, we still won the series. And so when Kumar Rocker comes out there and gives up a leadoff double to Taylor Ward, and he advances on whatever was next, and then he rides home on a single, and the Rangers are down 1-0, but then Rocker gets out of the inning and does strike out Trout in that inning. You're like, okay, a little uneven, but it's okay. We'll see what we get. Rangers come right back and get a leadoff single from Marcus Semien and get another single from actually Semien scored on an error. Reached on an error. And then you get another single, though, from Corey Seager. And then you get a sac fly from Adolis Garcia. And the next thing you know, the Rangers have tied it. They take the lead in the second inning as Dustin Harris comes up and singles. Jake Berger gets hit by a pitch. Kyle Higashioka singles. Leody Taveras singles. I mean, the bottom of the batting order again comes through, and the Rangers are up 3-0. 3-1, I should say. They never looked back at that point. They never lost the lead at that point. The Angels got close, but could get no closer at that point than 4-3. They end up losing it by a final of 5-3. So a really nice game by the Rangers. And after that first inning, Kumar Rocker, counting the last out of the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 in a row. He just settled in. Kumar Rocker did such a great job tonight. He went 7 innings. 6 was his previous high, right? 7 innings tonight. 5 hits, 3 runs. They were earned. 8 strikeouts. That's a career high. There you see the numbers. And only 78 pitches. There's no doubt that Kumar Rocker could have gone out there for the 8th inning under different circumstances, but there was no reason. The bullpen was fine. It was rested enough. Luke Jackson wasn't available, but as Chris Martin and Robert Garcia proved, Luke Jackson was not needed tonight. So great performance by the pitching staff, but a breakout performance by Kumar Rocker. Kumar Rocker threw 45 sliders tonight, and that is by far the most he's thrown in a major league game. And as the pitchers say, he was landing it. You've got to land that pitch, and it kept the Angels hitters completely off balance because he was landing it in just the right spot, low in the zone, just outside the zone even. It goes through the zone low and then comes through outside the zone. It was fantastic. 16 four-seam fastballs and then 16 sinkers to go with one change up for Kumar Rocker, and that was his night. That was his 78 pitches on the night. So when the slider works like that, this young man is going to be a dominant pitcher, and he and Jack Leiter are going to be a 1-2 combination in a Rangers rotation for years and years to come. This was a glimpse at what we can hope, expect, and plan to see from Kumar Rocker in the future. So Kumar Rocker strikes out Mike Trout twice in the game tonight. He's only the 7th pitcher ever to strike out Mike Trout twice in one game. Mike Trout doesn't strike out twice in a game. It's only happened 7 times in his entire career, and it happened tonight because Kumar Rocker was keeping them off balance so much and doing such a great job. So we appreciate everything that he did tonight. It was, like I say, one of those breakthrough performances. He had 17 first pitch strikes. That's fantastic. He was just on, right? He was on from the beginning, although maybe, again, got the focus after Taylor Ward got that double to lead the game. And the next thing you know, Kumar Rocker took over this game. Bruce Bochy reaches a milestone tonight, too. 2,183 wins for Bruce Bochy, and that ties him for 7th place on the all-time list. Boch is tied with Dusty Baker of so many different teams, but most recently Astros. And so anyway, that's quite an accomplishment. And he can reach 6th this year, which is Sparky Anderson, I believe, and then he'll have to go into next year in order to reach the top 5, and we'll keep our fingers crossed and plan that Boch will, in fact, do another year after this one. But first things first, working our way through this game, which was just fantastic. The Rangers had 11 hits in this game. Oh, by the way, they had 11 hits last night, too. They had 8 hits in the game on Tuesday. So, again, the offense, 5 runs is great. The offense, not 100% back yet. We know this offense can slug more, can hit more, can, kill you with 1,000 paper cuts more. But right now, they're hitting the ball hard, and they're getting base hits. They're finding a way to hit them where they ain't. And that is a beautiful thing to see. The Rangers only scored 3 last night. They only needed 2, but they scored 3 on 11 hits. Tonight, they get 5 on 11 hits. And there were a couple of bombs in the game. Really nice to see Adolis Garcia hit a home run in that 3rd inning. He led off the 3rd with a home run. And then how about Corey Seager leading off the 7th inning with a home run? The 100th home run for Corey Seager as a Texas Rangers. How about that? That's fantastic. And, there were just so many things to like about this offense up and down the lineup, including the fact that Simeon and Seager both got on base in the 1st inning to get the table set, to get things headed in the right direction. There are things not to like still, and we'll talk about some of those, including Jock Peterson. But for now, we focus more on some of the good things. I see the comments in there about Dustin Harris, who, may be a candidate, Daniel, to be a full-time center fielder in the future, although because he's extremely athletic, I'm not sure he's going to be as good out in center field as Leody Taveras has been. The errors and so forth on the road trip notwithstanding. Leody's great out there, but man, Dustin Harris, He is hitting the cover off the ball. Really fun to see Dustin Harris in that role. He scored a run after a single in the second inning tonight. He also had a single in the third inning, so a couple of more hits for Dustin Harris. Basically, he was like the last cut at spring training for the Rangers this year. He was a guy that, they considered, and that was a huge consideration. You earn that, right? That's not something that was given to him. Certain veterans and so forth. Oh yeah, we'll give him that spot. Not this time. That was earned. And as soon as the Rangers had an opportunity, they called him back up. He's making it tough to decide what happens now when Wyatt Langford comes off the disabled list. Jeff and I have talked on the show, and we'll mention this with Jeff later in the program too. We've talked in the show about possibly this is the mark, the time that we'll see Dustin Harris stay here, and it would be Ezekiel Duran, who they already did option once but had to bring him back because of an injury. Zeke might be the odd man out in this case when Wyatt comes off the disabled list, which won't be till Saturday. He's eligible to return Saturday. Rehab start for him tonight. We'll get to all the details of that, including the home run that Wyatt Langford hit for Round Rock tonight. So really good night all around by your Texas Rangers, and a really fun game for you to watch. 54% of the runs scored by the LA Angels, 54% are by the home run, and that's second in baseball to the LA Dodgers. Well, the Angels didn't have a home run tonight. Oh, look at there. They didn't have a home run last night or the night before, right? The Rangers limited, right? Minimized the damage. That is game plan. That is taking away the strength of the other team's offense. One of the reasons they came into this series, the Angels came into this series in first place in the American League West. They leave amidst a 3-game losing streak, and the Rangers are not only in first place in the American League West, but they are tied for the best record in the American League. So just a wonderful 3-game series, and as we said, as somebody said at the very beginning of the program, a wonderful primer for a weekend that's expected to be bonkers at Globe Life Field. Because, look, the Dodgers may not be in first place in their division. They may not even be in second. I haven't looked at the standing. I got them right here. But the Padres and the Giants have played so well. Dodgers are in second right now at 14-6, but San Francisco's on their heels at 13-6. So, they may not be the best team in their division, but they're good. And they've only lost 6 games to the Rangers 7. So it's going to be a great series this weekend. We'll talk lots more about that with Jeff when he gets here. We'll also talk lots more about the post-game reaction to this one. We know that Bruce Bochy celebrated his 70th birthday yesterday with a victory. In some ways, this one might be even more sweet in that the Rangers complete the sweep. They improved to 9-1 at home. I am no math major, but I'm pretty sure that's winning 90% of your games at home. And I am no analytics guy, but I'm pretty sure that if you win 90% of your games, you're going to have a pretty good season, obviously. And I talked to several players in the clubhouse about this today. Obviously, they know they've got to do better on the road, and they will. But that's a kind of start now when you're 8 games over 500 at home already after only 3 series. That's the kind of start that sets you up for a home field advantage all the way through the season. It's something that every team tries to establish. It's something that the Rangers really have already established, and we'll see how strong they can keep that going over the course of this weekend when they face the World Series champions. More talk about that coming up a little bit later. We get to Jeff Wilson, who will join us from Globe Life Field moments from right now. We'll get post-game reaction, and, of course, we'll continue to see what you have to say about this one. A good win, a sweep by the Rangers, and what a way to start the homestand. We've got more coming. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And this will be one of the first, certainly it will be the first day since the rain we had a few weeks ago where I have not worn the Shady Rays home. Now, you might be saying, go ahead, Rats, wear them. Why not? Wear your sunglasses at night. Be like the Blues Brothers or whoever. So, but I probably won't. ZZ Top was sunglasses at night people too, right? I probably won't, but I could. And know this, they'd be comfortable. They're the most comfortable glasses I've ever had. I love the style. There's 150 different styles on there. There's different colors. They're polarized. They're almost indestructible. And I'm really hard on glasses, and I can break almost anything and without trying. And these I haven't been able to break. And we even told the story once. I got them kind of lodged in the seat next on the other side of the passenger side. And, you know, my wife and others are doing the whole moving the seat back and forth on the auto deal. And I couldn't finally vacuum the car, and I found them, no problem. Shady Rays were just fine. So get yourself a pair of Shady Rays, 35% off, shadyrays.com. Use the code DLLS. And I also want to encourage you to utilize Sleeper. What a great app Sleeper is. I promise you, Jeff placed some wagers tonight. Was one of them, you know, that Kumar Rocker would get 3 Ks? Well, guess what? He got 8, right? I didn't look. I didn't look at Sleeper today, but this is daily picks. You pick your guy, or maybe you pick against their guy, and you bet on it, and you make lots of money. Jeff's done really great at this. You should try it too. It's easy. You get the app, you go to sleeper.com, and if you use the code DLLS, they'll give you a $100 first deposit match, up to $100. You put in $100, they put in $100. Hard to beat that deal. It's free money at Sleeper. So Rangers get the victory tonight at Globe Life Field, and it's one of those games that makes you smile because, you know, it's one of those games where it's not only for the now, but it's for the future. It's for the future when you see guys like Kumar Rocker, who did what he did. That young man had by far his best performance at the major league level, and I think this performance tonight rivals some of the performances he had at the minor league level when he was so dominant. So fantastic performance by him. And the narrative going into this game was that this was a big start for Kumar Rocker, right? That was what everybody was asking Bruce Bochy today before the game, even last night after the game, like, how big is this for Kumar? How big? And, of course, Bochy is going to try to downplay it. But the reality is that narrative existed because of what's happening with the rotation now. Jack Leiter is going to be eligible to come off the disabled list on Tuesday, and you've got Patrick Corbin, who pitched really well last night. And so if Kumar hadn't been pitching well, which he didn't in his last start, you're like, well, logically, maybe Kumar is out of the rotation. And we feel like if he is, that would mean a trip to the minor leagues. Well, that's why this became such a story. Whether or not it is or was a story to the Rangers within their internal brain trust, we don't know. Boch tried to downplay it, but there's no question. Kumar knew it, he felt it, and he responded. We've said on the show many times before, Kumar Rocker does not shy away from the bright lights. He killed in the College World Series. He is not afraid of the bright lights, and they were on tonight. They were on big time, and Kumar came through big time. So all you can do when you're a young player in particular is try to make the decision difficult for the management, the front office and the manager. And that's exactly what Kumar Rocker did tonight. Once again, his numbers so fantastic. 7 innings pitched, 3 runs, all of them earned on only 5 hits, and he had 8 strikeouts, a career high. 7 innings is a career high, and 78 pitches is a ridiculously efficient night for Kumar Rocker tonight. So fantastic night for him. And the other guy that made the front office and the management, not just tonight, but for the past several nights, he made them think. He made them work. He made them like, whoa, we got a decision to make here. And that's Dustin Harris. This young man has been great at the plate. And today, when we were talking to Boch about Dustin Harris, what he was bringing up was things like, well, yeah, we had him over there taking ground balls at first base. Now, that's something Jeff broke that on the show here I think on Tuesday, because or maybe Wednesday, he was out there Tuesday, and he was one of the few that hung around BP and stuff long enough to notice, oh, there's Dustin Harris taking ground balls at first base. The Rangers want him to be even more versatile so that he can stay, right? The more opportunities he would have to play, the more places he can play. He could play third, although that's probably less likely, and he can play anywhere in the outfield. But if you add first base into the mix, that's one more opportunity to get Dustin Harris a day. And we know this about Boch. He does not like to take a hot bat out of the lineup. Well, Dustin Harris right now has a hot bat. 2 more singles tonight after extra base hits in 3 straight games prior to tonight. So really nice to see his emergence, and fingers crossed that he'll continue that. That said, no matter what, even if he doesn't, the future is very bright for Dustin Harris. So that's a fantastic development in tonight's game. I mentioned, some of the things that aren't great. Jock Peterson, God bless him. We see him, we talk to him in the clubhouse, and he's not letting himself, at least outwardly, get down. He's treating every day normally. He's going after. He knows he's had stretches like this in his big league career before. He's just never had one at the start of the season, and they get magnified. There's no doubt about that. But other than that, there really isn't much to quibble about with regard to this game. I see that Jeff has joined us now, and of course, Jeff, the lead story is by far the difficult decision that Kumar Rocker has made for the front office and for Bruce Bochy as we go forward here, because that was a pitching performance.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a in doubt anymore. I think this performance, they saw exactly what they had hoped they would see from the get go. Dominant, efficient, attacking around the plate, just really really good. And I think he trusted the catcher a little bit more tonight. There was talk that his last start he kind of abandoned the game plan a little bit, and stopped throwing a slider. He had a good feel for it. It was a great pitch. Mixed up his fastballs. They pitched differently throughout each time through the lineup. So it was good. I mean, it was really really good, and it's something that leaves you wanting more. It's not a situation where you're trying to figure out if he needs to go work on something. That works. The question is, can he do it again, and then again, and then again? And I don't know that that's the Rangers won't know until they see it.
I assume you probably talked to both he and Boch about this. I've already mentioned he threw 45 sliders tonight, and that after only throwing 4 in his last start in Seattle. But what was it? Was it just that the slider was landing, exactly where he wanted it to, and he was in complete command of it?
Yeah, starting pitchers don't just throw every 5 days. They throw the ball every day. They work on the shape of their pitches, and that's what he did since the last start. He said he worked on it. It got dialed in finally, and he went with it, and he ran with it, and he did a lot of great things with it. I can only think of a handful of real wild misses with it.
Oh yeah,
and some of them might have been intentional. Trying to get a chase out of the zone or in the dirt. It was just really good. You kind of wonder if the fastball command was a little off, maybe early, because Soler hit the fastball right down the middle, just a bad command of that pitch. It was a strike, but it was not what you want to do with 2 strikes. So again, you just if at that point you're nitpicking though. It was that good. He did get a strikeout with the fastball, at least one. Some balls were hit really hard tonight, but that went both ways, and against all the pitchers. I mean, Mike Trout hit 2 balls. I think his second at bat was 106 miles per hour, and that last at bat in the last inning, he hit it 110 miles per hour. That's going to happen. You have to get lucky sometimes, so there was a little luck involved. But when you're around the plate and you're not walking guys, um, you're making your own luck. You're making the hitter be defensive, and you're making him swing at your pitches. And if he gets one and he can handle it, he misses it, he's in trouble.
Yeah, and look, Kumar Rocker had these guys in trouble. He had them off balance. He got at one point, I think it was 10 or 11 in a row after that. After the run scored in the first inning. So it was by far the best night of his career. What was Boch saying after the game overall about not only the game, Jeff, but the sweep of the Angels?
Yeah, it's they're just, I don't know. There's something magical here so far this season. 9-1 at home. They swung the bats pretty well. They got production throughout the lineup. He did talk about Jock Peterson a little bit, and to build on what you were saying earlier, and you're going to stick with him. He did almost have a hit. The diving play that was made at second base would have been a hit. Might have made him feel real good, but um, you know. Um, to see Seager go deep and to see Dolis go deep, 3-0 pitch, 3-0 green light. And then, Tavares came through really with the big hit, and it's a shame that Higashioka got thrown out at the plate. Could have been a little bit bigger inning, but, um, you know, if the bottom of the order is producing, the top of the order eventually is going to do some stuff. And you keep seeing the bottom of the order do good things.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, the bottom of the order was great last night, really, and again tonight. And love to see Leote having a night like that. Dustin Harris, too, who was actually not in the bottom third of the order tonight. He's working his way up the batting order, Jeff, because
Yeah.
he'll either hit a extra base hit every night as he did for 3 in a row, or a couple of hits tonight.
Yeah, and it was pretty interesting that Wash took out Kahanowitz when he did, uh, because he took him out because Dustin Harris had doubled and singled against him, and it almost backfired because Dustin put a charge into one that made Mike Trout run into the corner to catch the
Yeah.
ball. It was almost another big hit for Dustin, and it's interesting. Wyatt Langford hit a home run tonight on rehab assignment, and he's coming back Saturday. There's no question he's coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you send Dustin Harris down.
I
I
don't
don't know
think
how
you
you
do.
sit Dustin Harris, honestly, right now. It's crazy. You just ride the hot bat. It's not like this offense is firing on all cylinders still. And I don't know who you're going to sit. But Ezekiel Duran probably needs to be in the minor
Yeah.
leagues right now, worse than
Yeah.
our guy Dustin Harris, who's going to be on the weekly show tomorrow. He's going to be on the weekly podcast tomorrow with me and John Moore. So be sure to check for that tomorrow afternoon. Won't be live, but it'll be out pretty quickly. Yeah, I mean, and you feel good for the kid, because he was a rising star, and then the Rangers have some good outfielders, and it looks like he's kind of plateaued. But when you get your opportunities, you got to take advantage of them, and he is doing that by far. And I would love to see him in the lineup again this weekend against the Dodgers.
Yeah, and I mentioned it just before you came on, Jeff. But one thing we know about Bruce Bochy is he is not want to take the hot bat out of the lineup. And Dustin Harris, I mean, he's probably got as hot as some of these guys have heated up, but Dustin's is probably as hot as anybody's right now.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and you wonder though, if they're going to stick with Jock Peterson, which they probably are. Jake Berger feels like he's getting closer. The 3 hits last night, and pretty good game again tonight. Because Dustin can play first base, but Josh Smith is supposed to be back tomorrow, and you're going to want to play Josh Smith. So either Corey Seager has to sit, which he's not going to do against his old team, I don't think. So it's interesting how it's going to work out, but Bruce Bochy will find a way. If he really believes that Dustin Harris is one of their best 9 hitters, then he's going to play.
More coming up as we continue to wrap up a nice victory by the Rangers, a sweep of the Angels. Let's talk more about that home record. It's the best in the American League. We'll get to that and also to some of the questions we see in the chat. Other things to wrap up with regard to this game coming next, too. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
John, I'm a little handicapped right now. I'm going to need you to do the ad reads.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So timeline, this is one of the reasons, because Jeff's brain is fading on him. And you know why? It's the dysfunctional mitochondria. It
I hate
affects
that mitochondria.
I'm lucky. I'm one of those people that can feel the mitochondria. And when it's starting to fade, man, I'm just going straight for MitoPure. That's all I'm going to do, because when that dysfunctional mitochondria dysfunctions, what you need is a good dose of MitoPure. It's a patented ingredient that is only available through Timeline. It'll help you restore yourself, no matter what you're doing, workouts, or if you're not getting enough sleep, or you're, in Jeff's case, you've been playing Mr. Mom, kind of burning the candle at both ends, plus doing baseball games and everything else. It's a busy week, right? You grab yourself some Timeline and you get a little MitoPure, and you start to feel a whole lot better. So we love you to go to timeline.com, use the code DLLS, and get your discount at timeline.com. Also, Game Time. Now, Game Time, man, I love this app. Nicole and I, thank God, I thought she was mad at me because I didn't get emails from her for a couple days in a row. But we're good, Nicole and I. And I was just, perusing the Game Time app to see what all's going on this holiday weekend. And there are tons of activities, not just sports, but the lead, the number one thing that you're seeing on the Game Time app right now is Stars, right? They start their playoff series against the Avalanche this weekend. So, and then number two, and it's like 1 and 1A really, is Rangers-Dodgers. And then you get down into all the other things. But, these are great events. And any event you want is available on Game Time, almost anywhere you want it. Download the app and get $20 off your first purchase on Game Time with the code DLLS. All right, Rangers now, Jeff, are 9-1 at home. And again, that's, there's a couple of other teams that have only one loss, but none in the American League that have 9 wins. It's a fantastic start. And that one was so winnable. I mean, it was opening day, right? It was just a thing that happens sometimes in the ninth inning. So, and if that were the case, if they had won that one, they would have the best in baseball. The Padres are still at the best record in baseball at home. They too have one loss, but I think they're up to 12 wins now at home. But either way, when you start the season like this, Jeff, at 8 games over 500 at home, that's a beautiful way to start.
Well, it makes up for that 1-5 road trip, or helps soften that one a little bit. But yeah, 9 straight home wins. I mean, that's pretty darn remarkable. The Dodgers are going to put that to the test, but man, that's pretty good stuff. And not against slouchy teams either. I know the Angels aren't predicted to finish very well in the American League West, but they came in pretty hot, this team. So good wins. And but yeah, you may have talked about it earlier, but you asked Bruce Bochy about it today, and I always say, do well at home and survive on the road, and you're going to be in pretty good shape. Well, the Rangers are not surviving on the road, so they need to clean that up next week when they go to Northern California. But it's something they're totally capable of doing. This is a veteran team. Veteran teams usually do well on the road. They have some young guys that are learning. Really, just a couple young guys that maybe aren't familiar with the road and the ballparks as well as they could be. But this is a situation for an opportunity for the Rangers to, with all these veterans and knowing what it takes and knowing how to get around town and where to eat and all that jazz. The best place to, buy a suit, in a certain city. They know all this stuff, and so they should be comfortable everywhere they go, except Seattle, of course, because they just are haunted there.
That's a house of horrors for them. One of the other things they need to learn is where and from whom to rent houses. As we learned today at the end of the Bruce Bochy press briefing, Patrick Corbin, this part wasn't told by Boch then, but Patrick Corbin is renting Max Scherzer's home. And apparently it's infested with spiders because
Oh man.
Patrick Corbin, Boch told us, and none of us heard this yesterday. I was at the game all day. I covered post-game. It never came up. We talked to Corbin. He came to the ballpark yesterday, Jeff, and Boch said he could barely walk because of a spider bite, something venomous.
Yeah, I talked to Patrick after the game, and his ankle his foot is taped. It's taped up. He got bit on the off day Monday, and I guess didn't really think anything of it because he was at the ballpark Tuesday and wasn't hobbling around. I saw him with his son after the game, and everything seemed fine. And then, yesterday whatever the venom, the pain, whatever took over, and apparently there was some serious doubt that he was going to make his start. So anyway, he does, and he goes out there and pitches really, really well. But yeah, so he said he was outdoors cooking Monday on the off day. His family had just gotten to town. His wife just had a baby. Right there at the end of spring training, which is why he never reported to Arizona. And so he has two boys, and he was just out there, cooking dinner, being a dad like these guys are. They're humans, and he'll be, he got bit by something. He said it
Yeah.
wasn't big. It was, and I don't know. You hear about black widows, and I don't know, a brown recluse, that'd be pretty serious.
Yes.
But he wasn't hobbling around tonight, but it is taped up, and a very interesting thing that Boch just brought up.
Yeah.
So,
And
hey,
I did love your follow up. You asked Boch, so did you have to bite the skin off and suck the venom out before he could pitch yesterday? Boch
he
said
said,
no.
"Yeah, I'm pretty desperate."
Yeah. I'll do whatever it takes, right? So yeah, that was very interesting, and it came out with Murph and Dave on the broadcast that it's actually Max Scherzer's house. Max and his family bought a house when they were here, and so anyway, the Corbins are renting that for now. So
Yeah, the
geez,
old
Pete,
teammates
Max,
with the
you may want to get
Nationals.
the exterminator over there for God's sake.
They want him. Yeah. I might be suing the landlord if I'm the Corbins.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you miss a start, that's big. So, so that it begs the question when we've been talking about all this. Jack Leiter, as we also heard from Boch today, he pitched today. He did well. Obviously, tomorrow will be another test to see. But so then it begs the question. Jack comes back Tuesday. Which way did they go? Like you said, it looks like Kumar Rocker has secured his spot. Corbin to the bullpen. I guess that's the choice.
Yeah. I mean, they really don't have another. I mean, they could release him, but
Don't want to do
he was
that. Yeah.
signed. He was signed um, to be depth because John Gray and Cody Bradford were injured basically back-to-back days in spring training, and you, they can't just be shedding starting pitchers. You can figure out a way to keep him stretched out, Corbin, that is in the bullpen. And that assumes we're assuming that Jack is activated Tuesday. If he has to make a rehab start, well, okay, then Corbin will make the start there to open the road trip. But there is a decision pending, and I guess this is a good problem to have. You don't want to send Kumar Rocker to the minors. You want him to be very, very good, as he was tonight. But he's got to repeat it.
Yep.
And it's been a roller coaster so far. Or what is it? When you're hooking and slicing the ball, I play military golf, left, right, left, right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of what Kamar's been. He's been left, right, and so he hit one down the middle today, for sure. But yeah, I think Jake Latz was just recalled. He could be optioned down if they don't want to lose Caleb Bosley. They could keep Bosley and work it out that way. But they did recall Latz because they wanted length,
Yep.
And well, Patrick Corbin can give you length.
Sure.
So I
100%.
think that's just kind of the way it looks right now. I I, I just don't see Rocker or Leiter, either one, going to the bullpen. So to keep that rotation depth, um, it's gonna be what you have to do. But then again, these things always have a way of working themselves
They
out.
do.
Who knows what's going to happen in the
Yeah,
next 3
they
days?
do. They do. A couple of things from the chat. Dino joining from Australia again. We appreciate it when you join, Dino, and good eye to you as well. He asked about Evan Carter. Natalie also said, she doesn't think the offense is going to really fully click until Evan's back. We hope it does. And to answer Dino's question, Jeff, it looks like, and some intel you've gotten, it looks like, Evan's a ways away yet.
Yeah, I haven't really flushed it out yet, but he's just playing like 3 or 4 times a week right now. They're still trying to get the baseline on, manage the workload, and really slowly build it up. Um, they're still trying to figure out how to manage the back. I mean, that's just the nuts and bolts of it here. And he's playing, so he's not injured. And when he plays, he steals bases and plays the outfield and is doing all the things. It just seems like it's going to be a pretty slow buildup and a pretty steep learning curve here on how to manage him and help him manage the back situation. And again, we've never gotten a clear diagnosis on what the condition is. Evan, when we asked him early in spring training, the very first day he was there, um, he was very elusive. He didn't say anything. He said it's something that can be managed now and that I will grow out of. All right. Well, when will you grow out of it? And then I've heard some people say, well, Evan needs to be able to put on muscle, and that might be hard to do right now. If he could weigh 205 pounds, they really think that's like the money, the sweet spot for him weight wise. But he checked in this spring at 193, I think it was, and last spring, and really even or last season, and even in 23, he just lost weight throughout the offseason. He weighed like 170 pounds at the end of
Yeah.
2023. That's not your body can't hold that together. That's you're gonna get hurt, and so it's just going to take a while, guys. And you're right, Natalie. I mean, when Evan Carter's right, he's a prototypical leadoff hitter. He's the guy you want, but it's just going to take a while. So I wouldn't be I wouldn't be banging that drum too loudly. It's gonna have to sit back and wait for it to work itself out because, again, just based on the couple conversations I've had, it's not a he's not about to be in the major leagues by any stretch.
Right. No, it seems like that's a long way away at this point. So, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. It's something we're also very interested in. We will keep you posted. And of course, Dino, as always, thanks for watching from Australia. Brett C. may have joined a little late, but asking if Dustin Harris will be with the Rangers or sent back to the minor leagues. We believe at this point he has done enough to, at very least, make this a difficult decision. And likely, Jeff, he'll be staying in the major leagues when Wyatt Langford comes back, and that maybe the odd man out would then be Ezekiel Duran.
The caveat there is that Josh Smith hasn't played since Saturday because of this thumb thing.
True.
And they thought we asked Boach about it Tuesday, and he was out of the line. Smith was out of the line. Oh, he'll be back tomorrow. Wasn't back yesterday. Oh yeah, he just needed another day. He's not back today. He still needed one more day. So the Rangers may have to protect themselves by keeping Duran if Smith isn't able to get this thumb going. It's also possible that Smith ends up on the injured list. I mean, it's 5 days at this point. How much longer do you want to wait? I think you can backdate it 3 days. So it might not be the worst thing in the world at this point if you IL Josh, if he's not able to play tomorrow, well, okay, then Saturday, go ahead and IL him, activate Langford, and then when Smith is ready to come off the injured list in like during the next road trip, then you go ahead and make the move with Durant. Now, if Smith plays tomorrow and everything's great, then I think Durant's got a real chance to be sent down. Remember, he got sent down last Tuesday
Right. Yeah.
at Wrigley Field. That night, Langford gets hurt, and they brought back Duran and promoted Harris, and made another move that I don't recall off the top of my head, but there's there is definitely a movement that Duran needs regular at bats to get going, because he had a lousy spring, and it hasn't gotten any better. And really, he's still so young that when he doesn't get regular at bats, it really affects him.
Yeah, and negatively, no doubt about that. More coming as we take a look ahead to this series this weekend. The World Series champs are in town, and in fact, the last two World Series champs will square off at Globe Life Field starting tomorrow. We preview that next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And we encourage you to take advantage of this diehard deal that we have right now. You can become a diehard for only $36 right now.
36.
Isn't that unbelievable? It's a deal that's been put in place because the NFL draft is coming, but it's a deal that, benefits hockey fans, basketball fans, if there are any of those left in the area, and us baseball fans. So go ahead and get it. $36. You get a $35 shirt just for becoming a diehard, and you get all the content that's available, which there will be a ton of regarding the draft. There already has been. We've got several mock drafts working and those types of things right now, if you're interested in that. And Jeff's all over everything happening with this Rangers team, which it appears there's going to be a lot happening with it throughout the course of the season, not just this weekend when the past two World Series champions are here. So become a diehard at alldlls.com, and I promise you, you won't regret it.
Yeah, and you get a free shirt. Don't forget the free shirt with this $36 deal. The shirt's valued at $35. So do the math. It's like we're basically giving this thing away. You've seen John and I wear the shirts. If you're a regular viewer of the program, we don't have one on today because we were at the ballpark, and by God, we're professional. But I have pretty much every darn one of them. There's one I don't have, but I have the two that you see on the screen. They're super comfortable. They fit nice. You don't want to take them off. If you wear it during the day, you want to wear it to sleep in. It's that high quality of shirt, and they ship fast. You order it, unless you live in the boonies like John, you get it pretty fast. So city folk like me, you order it on a Monday, you've got it by Friday. So go ahead and go to store.allcitynetwork.com and get you a shirt, because it's a unique way to show your support. These aren't available in the gift shop here at the ballpark. These are one of a kind items that you want, and will make you stand out.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that the graphic there. I don't have that for the Love of Texas one, and
so I've got two of them.
I really need to get that one, and it's red, white, and blue. So the way things go for me, I'll order it tomorrow, and I should have it by the 4th of July. So
Perfect.
That'd be perfect, right? Red, white, and blue. I can wear it, and I'd be a happy camper. So, yeah. Anyway, by which time, who knows where this Rangers team will be? As it is right now, we know. And somebody put in the chat, the Rangers need to finish this homestand with a record of 4-2. Well, hell, I mean, why not better than that? I mean, and I get it.
Yeah.
If you take one of three from the Dodgers, I think, to the point of Kid, I think that you can feel okay about yourself. But the way they're playing at home right now, and the way this pitching matchup, the rotation lines up, the Rangers are expecting more than 1-2 as a record against this Dodgers team.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm really looking forward to the Saturday game. I mean, obviously, I love watching Jacob deGrom pitch, and he's going to pitch Friday. But Saturday is Eovaldi against John's favorite pitcher, Sasaki. And I'll be curious to see how Sasaki fares here. If the Rangers are patient, they'll be okay. I think that's kind of the key. I know the when Sasaki is on, his fastball and splitter are nearly indistinguishable, but he hasn't been on, and he hasn't been pitching deep into games. So, if in the opener they can chase Yamamoto early, that'll help set them up for success Saturday if they're able to get Sasaki out of there early. Or really, the Dodgers might just pull him early because he just hasn't been built up that much. DeGrom, I talked to him yesterday about his mechanics. He said he's really close. He's identified an issue with his landing foot. Hey, whatever it takes. He said, it was going to take it was going to take a little while. I think he's realized now, having not pitched much in 2 years, that it's going to take a little while longer than he thought it might. But he said that the work he's been putting in, he's getting close, and so. Yeah, and I'm also looking forward. I'm looking forward to him going deep into games. I wouldn't mind seeing some more 99s and 100s from Jacob. I know he wanting to, command his fastball a little bit better, and had success in the past at 97, 96, 97, 98. But I wonder if maybe he starts feeling it and is commanding at that 96, 97 point, and just reaches back a couple times and shows the Dodgers 101. It's in there, and
Yeah,
he knows it's in there.
sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how that progresses throughout the year. But he's working on extra rest and should be fresh. He's had time to work on those mechanics. So looking forward to that one for sure. And then we got the best pitcher in baseball pitching Sunday in Tyler Mahle. So why not win all three?
Yeah, why not? And what I like too, which will be interesting to see with Degrom, because he does try to really just focus on what he does and block out everything. That said, almost every pitcher we've ever known, and in every rotation, when a guy comes out and throws has a start like Kumar Rocker did today, the next guy wants to do his best to not only duplicate something like that, but best it, do better, right? And truly, you could say Rocker did that based on what we saw from Patrick Corbin last night. And then if you get DeGrom to do that and Evaldi, you know what I mean? It can be a
Yeah,
real, not a vicious, but rather a pleasant cycle.
yeah, they do. There is a belief that starting pitchers feed off each other, and until before the 2023 team, you can go back in Rangers history to 2011, which you could even argue at this point, now is still the best rotation in Rangers history. They never went on the injured list. They were durable. They were good. They competed against each other. They threw complete games and shutouts and wanted the ball and wanted to go deep all the time. And it it was a hell of a rotation for sure. But my point, and it goes to your point, is that yeah, they fed off each other. Derek Collin went out and pitched 7 strong innings. Colby Lewis wanted to go out and do that, and C.J. Wilson did too, and so did Alexio Gondo and Matt Harrison. These are guys that did it the whole year, and it was fun to watch. And there's the makings for that. Tyler Mahle talked about it the other day. We have a chance to have the best rotation in baseball
Yep,
with DeGrom and Evaldi, and then if he's pitching like that, and then Rocker and Leiter and Gray and Bradford are coming back at some
sure.
point. They're making progress, so it has a chance to be deep and be good. And over the course of the year, you've already seen it. Pitchers are going to go on the injured list for a variety of reasons. It may just be 15 days, like with Jack and his blister, or it may be longer than that. But you got to have quality depth, and the Rangers are in a position, really at a time when guys will be getting tired and wearing down. They're going to have these 2 fresh arms coming back theoretically, Gray and Bradford. And so, what do you do then? You have all these great arms. What are you going to do? You can't have a 7-man rotation, but you're going to have just a lot of options, a lot of different ways to do it, piggybacking, just a crazy amount of things that you could do. So Um, but you got to get there. Everything's got to still go right. But this rotation's got a chance to be pretty good.
There is just no doubt about that. As Tyler Mahle has said, Mahle, like rally, it could be the best in baseball, and it definitely feels like it's headed in that direction, at least for right now. John Gray update. Jeff and I had a chance to chat with him in the clubhouse yesterday, and he had gotten the the splint, but it's more like a cast on his arm, reduced from something that basically went from here all the way down to his wrist, and he said, "Oh, I'm free. I feel so liberated." That said, he's still got a cast from here to here. He can't do much yet, but it looks like he might be throwing as soon as a couple of weeks, Jeff.
Yeah, that's what he said, and I then tweeted it, and somebody responded, well, because I said, probably July or August still. Somebody said, well, the timeline doesn't match up if he's throwing by May. It's like he'll be playing catch. He's not going to be on top of the mound on May 1st. He's as soon as that splint's gone, he's still got some work to do. If you've broken your arm, you know that several weeks in a cast, there's some atrophy that comes in. It's fortunate, maybe now he can start doing a little more to help get his elbow fired up. You want to make sure everything's ready to go when he's finally ready to go. And I'm sure they'll be tentative with, the first couple weeks of throwing, make sure the wrist holds up, don't tax it too much. Probably a couple weeks of that, and then you'll start to see it get stretched out. But he's starting from scratch. You gotta do your whole throwing program again, and that's just to get on a mound. And then you've got to throw a series of bullpens to build up, and then you got to throw live batting practice probably twice with bullpens in between, and then you've got to go on a rehab assignment for maybe 5 or 6 weeks. Well, you can't do it for that long, but you get my point.
Yeah.
For a month, you can go for 30 days if you're a pitcher. So, that's a month right there, and we're talking.
Okay. We're talking a long time. Jeff's right. Oh, is he back? No, not yet. Okay. We're talking a long time. We are definitely looking at July or August. And John, we actually didn't ask him when he thought he might be back, but there's no doubt he realizes that is likely the timeline at this point. And Cody Bradford, I did not speak to. I saw that Jeff was reporting. I think he caught up with him yesterday, but Jeff was reporting that he is starting to, get more into baseball activities. He should be back sooner. But don't forget, they had to use the 60-day injured list with Cody Bradford. So, he's not eligible to come back until after Memorial Day, which would when's Cody eligible to come back? After Memorial Day, right, Jeff? Either late May or early June, Bradford?
Yeah. I don't know how far they could backdate. Well, I don't. I think as long as he's on the injured list, you don't have to worry about backdating. But yeah, it's late. But he's only playing catch right now to 60 feet. He's doing it 4 times this week. He did it 3 times last week, and then he'll start stretching out, kind of the Gray process we were just talking about. But he said he feels great. He said his body feels terrific. He had several weeks in a row of doing leg work, leg days. He said it feels fantastic and that the arm feels great. So all positive stuff for him. But again, these things take time. So I think, he's definitely 3 to 4 weeks ahead of Gray, let's say. So, he has a chance to be back at some point in June, I think is realistic. If the Rangers want to stretch him out to be a starter, it'll take a little longer. If they say, hey, why don't you be a reliever, a multi-inning reliever, and continue your build-up that way, or maybe they start him knowing that he can only go 3 innings, he will return sooner than John Gray, assuming they're both stay on their current timelines.
Sure. Yeah. So Rangers win it today, 5-3. That was the final. They sweep the Angels. And somebody in the chat was saying, good to see the former manager here. Yeah, we always root for Wash except when he's playing the Rangers. It was good to see him. I had a chance to chat with him yesterday, Jeff. I know you talked to him on Tuesday.
I mean, he's probably my favorite guy to talk to in baseball. I just love the guy. I mean, Bruce Bochy's hilarious too, but Wash was my first manager on the beat. I learned a lot about baseball from Ron Washington, and I got into the visiting clubhouse right as he was coming out of a hitters meeting. So he had about 10 minutes. We just talked in his office, and we don't just talk baseball. How's the family doing? How's everything at
Sure.
home?
Yeah.
We're friends. I'm not afraid to say it. We're friends, and he's a hoot. He just picks up your spirit. That's the thing. You see these young guys who last year had to grind through a terrible season for the Angels.
Yeah.
But he kept them positive, and he told them what was coming, and and how to handle it, and that things were going to get better. And these young guys are doing pretty darn good for him so far this year. And it's not going to be, there's a chance it's going to be tough. It may not look good at the end of 162. He has an option year on his contract. Maybe it gets picked up, maybe it doesn't. But Ron Washington is not going to change the way he manages a baseball team and coaches players. And he's so confident in it. He's 72 nowadays. He's still the oldest manager in the American League West, I think, in baseball. But he's just a hoot, and it's always a great time. It's always a great day when you get to talk to Ron Washington.
Yep. Yesterday was great for me. I know Tuesday great for you. And then I did love your comment to Boach yesterday when he walked by and everybody was saying happy birthday. And you said, hey, you're not the oldest manager in the building. So well, it's not very often you can say that to a 70-year-old. Anyway, great series, great time. We're thrilled that you all joined us for this chat. And we get the next couple of days with no show, not by our choice, because it'd be fun to do post-game shows after these Dodger games, but they make us take days off. So we'll be there, and we won't be here, but we'll be back on Sunday to wrap up this series, the Dodgers series, with a post-game show right after the finale. And it'll all be right here on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.